Welcome back to the channel, guys. Now that Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore is out in America and other markets, it's time for my full spoiler review, breakdown of Dumbledore's secrets, and the ending explained. But of course, if you haven't seen the movie yet, just be careful for spoilers. If you want to check out my non-spoiler review first, I will leave a link to that. And of course, if you're a fan of Harry Potter, the Wizarding World, or Fantastic Beasts, make sure you subscribe. So yeah guys, I'm assuming you've already watched my non-spoiler review, but here's a quick summary. I enjoyed the movie a lot. I am a huge Harry Potter and a huge Fantastic Beasts fan. I've been making videos on this for years. In terms of the secrets of Dumbledore, I could nitpick certain elements, such as Tina Goldstein or other characters' screen time, or how nicely the whole Jacob and Queenie romance wrapped up, with no explanation why they can marry now but not earlier. But I'm not going to do that. I think The Secrets of Dumbledore is the best movie in the series. It's definitely my favourite. And I have my fingers crossed the story can continue and we get that conclusion of the final two movies and the legendary duel between Albus Dumbledore and Gellert Grindelwald in 1945. So with that out of the way, let's talk about all the key scenes in some detail. And of course, the opening scene, Dumbledore and Grindelwald's first meeting. And I want to say this lasted for about 5 minutes, maybe a bit more. And in this time, their relationship was set up perfectly. And of course, it happened more throughout the movie. But these opening minutes were crucial in setting up who these men were and are now. They are still in love with each other. There's a desire to be by each other's side in this conflict, but it's not going to happen. Dumbledore and Grindelwald are on opposite sides. They are the two leaders in this war. And Jude Law and Mads Mikkelsen have perfect chemistry together, from their little looks to their smiles and the words they deliver. Of course, we could debate whether this meeting breaks canon, as if I recall correctly from the Deathly Hallows book, Rita Skeeter said that they never met after Godric's Hollow until 1945. But of course, we have to put aside the fact she is biased and might have gotten it wrong, and of course, Fantastic Beasts was written after that, but let's focus on it in terms of a movie. Dumbledore and Grindelwald had to meet in this movie. One of the criticisms of the last movie was the fact their story was a huge part of it, but they never actually shared any screen time together. And now with how much the future of the series relies on this movie, they had to meet. Grindelwald and Dumbledore are the main driving force of this movie, and I think they found the perfect balance between them, Newt Scamander, his Fantastic Beasts, and everything else going on. But Dumbledore and Grindelwald are the main attraction. If they didn't meet in this movie, what was the point? And of course, we have to consider this might potentially be the last movie in the series. But we're not going to think about that. Dumbledore and Grindelwald delivered in this scene and throughout the movie. So now we have to talk about Newt Scamander in China, searching for one of the most fantastic beasts in the series so far, and the main plot of the movie, the Qilin, a magical creature that can look into one's soul and see glimpses of the future. And because Grindelwald is a seer, with this creature he would be near unstoppable. So he sends Credence, Vin de Rosier and other acolytes to capture the newborn Qilin, but Newt Scamander is also there. Newt tries his best to protect the mother and the newborn baby, but the mother is killed, and Newt Scamander is knocked out, and Grindelwald's lackeys capture the baby Qilin. But what nobody realised was the Qilin mother was expecting twins. There was not a dry eye in the room at this point. But then we hop over to Nuremberg, and Credence delivers the first Qilin to Grindelwald. He kills the baby Qilin and then resurrects it to do his bidding. And I don't know about you guys, but I kind of felt Grindelwald was expecting the Qilin to bow before him, to look into his soul and decide that he was worthy, but no, nothing. And we find out throughout the movie that Grindelwald's plan is to use the dead Qilin to win the election of Supreme Mugwump, the head of the International Confederation of Wizards. And because Grindelwald is controlling the dead one, there's no way he can lose. He will get his war with the Muggles. But yeah, in the first 20 minutes or so, you know that Mads Mikkelsen is perfect in the role of Grindelwald. And you also get to see doubt in Queenie's decision, and how Credence, with all his new power, is still the same scared boy from the first movie. So yeah, now the Scamander brothers head to the Hogshead Inn to meet Dumbledore. And this is where the Harry Potter nostalgia starts to appear. And the trailers focused a lot on Hogwarts, Hogsmeade, and other very familiar elements from Harry Potter. But I feel the film found the right balance between the old and the new. And I'll tell you what guys, Richard Coyle as Aberforth Dumbledore is one of my new favourite additions to the cast. His mannerisms were so similar to Ciarán Hinds, who played him in Deathly Hallows. And he's definitely done his homework. If you go and check out the behind the scenes, he is very knowledgeable of Aberforth and all things Harry Potter. And I want to talk about another scene that happens later. We have to talk about when Professor McGonagall comes to the inn and Aberforth, being the grump that he is, tells her to sod off, or calls her a sod, because he didn't realise who he's speaking to. But once he does, he quickly apologises and changes his tone. And that shows us the respect McGonagall demands. You do not mess with her. And I know her presence has been highly criticised, but I've had enough of it to be honest. I like her in this movie, and I want to see more of her. Just like with Aberforth, the actress has put so much effort into getting Maggie Smith's mannerisms, such as how she holds her wand. So yeah, Dumbledore explains the blood trough, the blood pact, and this scene was released beforehand, so there's nothing much else to say, but it does well explaining why both great wizards cannot move against each other. And I also appreciate how Newt calls Dumbledore by his first name. It shows us that they're no longer student and teacher, they are on the same level now. They are on first name basis. So yeah, we jump over to New York. Professor Eulalie Hicks, also known as Lally, recruits Jacob. And Lally is definitely my favourite of the new cast members. She was in the last film in a cameo in the Phoenix book where she talks to Flamel, but this is when we really get to know her. And I just love the character of Lally, her attitude, and her accent is just so addictive. She's the charms professor at the American Wizarding School, Ilvermorny, as she's got history of Dumbledore, history of Tina, and she has corresponded with Newt Scamander for years because of their work, but they've never actually met. But even though they've been in contact for years, during their first face-to-face meeting, Newt is as awkward as always. And I honestly think this is Newt's best movie. So yeah, Lally has convinced Jacob to fight, to get Queenie back, and they use a portkey to transport themselves to a train, and they meet the rest of Dumbledore's first army. So yeah, Jacob and Lally join Newt, Theseus, Bunty, and Yusuf Kama as Dumbledore's first army on the train heading to Berlin. Everyone is introduced to each other, and Newt reveals Dumbledore's plan, or lack of a plan, or a plan that is designed to confuse, to prevent Grindelwald using his power to see into the future against them. The first army has been given separate tasks, and some of them have been given items. Theseus gets a tie, Jacob a wand, and Bunty instructions on a piece of paper that is for her eyes only. And once she reads it, it burns, so no one else can see it. So yeah, we're in Berlin now. Bunty has taken Newt's case, which makes him feel uncomfortable, but because he trusts Dumbledore and he trusts Bunty, he goes ahead with it. And she has the case duplicated several times, but only on the outside. So the cases don't have all the magical creatures or enchantments, but they look identical from the outside. And Yusuf heads off separately, and he eventually shows up in Nuremberg, where he declares his loyalty to Grindelwald. And Grindelwald removes the memory of Yusuf's half-sister, Leta Lestrange. And Leta was mentioned several times throughout this movie. And I've always said, I wish they didn't kill her off, but I'm glad characters who rely heavily on Leta in the last movie can shine on this one, such as Theseus and Yusuf. So yeah, everyone else heads off to the German ministry, where they meet Anton Vogel, the current Supreme Mugwump, and the German Minister for Magic. Newt gives them the message from Dumbledore, and it's straight out of Harry Potter. We must all face the choice between what is right and what is easy. And Vogel chooses easy. Grindelwald is acquitted of all charges and is free to run for next Supreme Mugwump. Theseus tries to intervene, so he's taken prisoner, and there's nothing Newt can do but watch as the world falls to pieces. But this time, Dumbledore is not hiding away at Hogwarts. He's in Berlin and has backup plans. He tells Newt where Theseus has been held and sends Jacob and Lally to a lovely Berlin dinner party to prevent assassination attempts on Grindelwald's political rivals. So yeah, at this point in the movie, Credence is making his move on Dumbledore. Remember, Grindelwald told Credence, also known as Aurelius Dumbledore, that he was abandoned by Albus and the Dumbledore family, and Dumbledore now wants to kill him, which is complete lies. But when you've been through so much, Credence believes him. And Credence follows Dumbledore throughout the streets of Berlin, and Dumbledore is using some sort of pocket mirror device that helps him keep track of Credence. They eventually meet, and Dumbledore uses some sort of raindrop enchantment or spell that hits Credence in the forehead, and it seems to transfer them to a mirror version of Berlin, or somehow keeps their duel separate from the world outside. And I saw this as a way of Dumbledore keeping their affair quiet, and for nobody to get hurt. Because around them buildings and trains are being destroyed, but at the aftermath, it's all normal. We get to see Prime Dumbledore in action for the first time, and we know Credence is gifted. He has his obscurial powers which are through the roof, he has a new wand and some training, under Grindelwald and his very powerful acolytes. And with backup, Credence done very well against a very distracted Newt Scamander, but he is no match for Albus Dumbledore. Dumbledore is clearly holding back, as he doesn't want to harm Credence. In fact, he wants to help him, to get through to him. But the presence of the Phoenix, which sprays ashes over Credence, Dumbledore realises that Credence is dying, and he tells Credence the truth. The Grindelwald is lying to him. The Dumbledores never abandoned him. He shares their blood, but he is not Albus's brother. Credence is in fact Albus's nephew, the son of Aberforth. After Ariana Dumbledore's death, Aberforth found love with a young woman from the Hollow, from Godric's Hollow. She became pregnant but was sent away, and the rest is history. So yeah, the Berlin dinner party, again heavily hyped in the trailers. Jacob and Lally are sent to prevent the assassination of Vicencia Santos. Yep, easy job. The problem is, Queenie is there, and that distracts Jacob. Jacob pulls out his wand on Grindelwald, and it's made to look like Jacob is trying to kill Grindelwald, to assassinate him. Jacob and Lally manage to escape, but this gives Grindelwald another reason to start the war against the Muggles. During this point, Newt is trying to rescue his brother from Erkstag prison, and the entire Scamander-brother relationship got more development in this scene than pretty much the entire last movie. Of course, the crab dance is hilarious, the manticore is terrifying, and the Teddy Pickett team-up is adorable. Especially when Pickett and Teddy are falling, Pickett reaches out for Teddy's paw, and it looks like Teddy's going to save him, but Teddy just grabs all the coins instead. You got to love the Niffler. So yeah, the Scamanders escape using the tie, which was another portkey, and it leads them straight to Hogwarts, and the Harry Potter nostalgia is full on now. Lots of fan service, lots of feel-good moments, such as Jacob making friends with the Hogwarts students. The Slytherins being little troublemakers. But down to business. We're in the Hogshead Inn, and the secrets of Dumbledore are revealed. Albus confronts Aberforth about Credence, and tries to convince his brother to help his son. Albus wants Aberforth to come to Bhutan with him, and Newt catches this conversation, and this is when Dumbledore reveals the past. That Ariana was also an Obscurial just like Credence, and the reason the Phoenix is following Credence and spreading its ashes is because Credence is dying. And he tells Newt what really happened the day Ariana died. We don't get any flashbacks, which many of us wanted, but I feel that Dumbledore remembering it with only his words made it feel more personal, made it feel more tragic in a way. We didn't need a grand spectacle, just one man remembering how he failed his sister. This movie is truly heartbreaking at times, but it does have its heartwarming moments. There's far too many to mention, but little moments such as Dumbledore and Jacob, the all-powerful Albus Dumbledore, and a simple Muggle baker. But Dumbledore has all the fondness and respect in the world for him, and that shows us what great of a man Dumbledore is. And like I said in my non-spoiler review, I feel that Dumbledore has cemented himself as the best character J.K. Rowling has ever written. But yeah, there's no time to dwell on the past. Dumbledore's final plan to stop Grindelwald is in motion. They head to Bhutan to stop Grindelwald being elected Supreme Mugwump, and they need everyone's help, including Credence. So the First Army, minus Yusuf, are in the Room of Requirement. The cases are laid out, the plan is set, and they use another portkey to head to Bhutan and split up, to distract Grindelwald's followers, and to get the real case with the second Qilin to the ceremony. The plan seems to be working, and Yusuf Kama proves his loyalty to Dumbledore's army. But Newt's case is taken from him and is destroyed. All hope seems lost. The dead Qilin bows before Grindelwald, and he is chosen as Supreme Mugwump, and declares his war against the Muggles, and uses the Cruciatus curse against Jacob, the Muggle that tried to assassinate him. Obviously this is when Queenie turns her back on Grindelwald, and for now I want to talk about a scene that happened earlier in the village between Queenie and Jacob, and this is probably one of my favourite moments in the entire movie. Jacob catches up with her, she tries to tell him she doesn't love Jacob anymore, Grindelwald's followers surround them, but Jacob just can't take his eyes off Queenie, and I hope we get more of them in the next movie, because they've spent most of movie 2 and movie 3 apart. So Queenie has turned her back on Grindelwald, she's back with Jacob, and Credence arrives and confronts Grindelwald. He confirms the Qilin is dead and it's all one big con. He spreads ashes over Grindelwald and the truth is revealed. But it's not enough proof, especially for Vogel, who is shouting, "This is the real Qilin." But the wild card is played, Bunty arrives in disguise with the real case, and the second Qilin is revealed. And another beautiful and heartbreaking scene takes place, where the second Qilin calls out for its twin, but Newt tells it can't hear you. And this scene between Newt and the Qilin is broadcast all over the world, including Makusa, where Tina witnesses it. And I believe this is the moment she knew that Newt would be her husband. So yeah, the second Qilin decides to end Grindelwald's career, and it chooses a suitable leader. It searches the crowd and finds Albus Dumbledore and bows before him. So at this point, everyone in the cinema is crying. Dumbledore is honoured, but he humbly asks the Qilin to find someone else, someone equally worthy. Because remember, as confirmed in Harry Potter and this series, Dumbledore said that power was his weakness as a youth. But of course, during Harry Potter, Dumbledore does become Supreme Mugwump, until Fudge cancels him in the Order of the Phoenix. So it's interesting to see what changes there, and how Dumbledore takes the position then. So yeah, the Qilin agrees, and it searches for someone else, someone equally worthy, and finds Vincentia Santos, the Brazilian Minister for Magic and the new Supreme Mugwump. So at this point, Grindelwald is pissed, uses the killing curse at Credence, but Aberforth and Albus cast their spells to protect Credence. The two orange-yellowy lights collide with the green light, and the blood trough is broken. Albus is not 100% sure why or how, but he does say, "He sought to kill, I sought to protect. Our spells met, let's call it fate." And I interpretate it as Grindelwald tried to kill Credence, Dumbledore tried to protect him. Their spells collided, but without the intent of fighting. And now the blood pact is gone, so Dumbledore and Grindelwald are free to fight and engage in a very quick duel. And it takes place in some sort of bubble, very similar to the Credence fight, where nobody witnesses them fight, the world outside is unaffected, time seems to have stopped. It ends in an impasse, both men pointing their wands at each other whilst placing their hands on each other's hearts. And could there be a symbol more perfect to describe their relationship? They love each other, but they are on opposite sides, they must fight. But this is not their legendary duel of 1945, where Dumbledore wins mastery of the Elder Wand, but rather a prelude to that. This duel is kind of their breakup. It's just the two of them fighting as the blood trough falls, very slowly, and finally breaks. No one on the outside sees this happen. Everyone raises their wands at Grindelwald, who shields himself, but before he disapparates, he tells everyone he was never their enemy, nor is he now. Grindelwald truly believes his campaign is for the greater good of the magical world. Grindelwald is not Voldemort, who only cared about himself and grown his power. One rules through hate and fear, the other tries to convince you that he is the right path. So yeah, as Credence grows weaker, he is confronted by his dad, by Aberforth, who says he has always thought about him. They leave as the Phoenix follows. And then the final scene of the movie takes place in New York, where it all began. Queenie and Jacob marry at his bakery, and I've got questions about how that goes about, because how could they marry? The entire last movie was all about them trying to find a way to get married, but I'm going to run with it. But yeah, Newt Scamander is the best man, Theseus and Lally are totally getting together, and Bunty's also there. And Tina, the maid of honour, arrives, and she makes her second appearance in the movie. She is reunited with Newt, and there's lots of questions why she's hardly in the movie. This has been going on since the very first trailer way back in December. I don't have a definite answer, I don't want to speculate, but I think the fan outcry means Tina will be back for a more main role in Fantastic Beasts 4. So this movie does end on a happy ending, the wedding bells are ringing, we do get some closure. A lot of storylines are wrapped up, but it also leaves a lot open for the next movie and beyond. But before we end, Newt notices that Dumbledore is all alone on the other side of the street. Dumbledore thanks Newt for his help, who says that he'll do it again if Dumbledore asks, which of course is hinting at Fantastic Beasts 4 and 5. And Dumbledore is truly happy for everyone, and it reminds me of Harry Potter. I think it's McGonagall that mentions that Dumbledore would have been happier than anybody to think that there was a little more love in the world. But Dumbledore does not join in the wedding celebrations. In fact, he walks alone in the snow. And this is honestly so sad. He's happy that everyone else is happy, but deep down he can never truly be happy. This movie was basically his divorce from the man he loves. So yeah guys, that has been a long video, so make sure you post your thoughts on Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. I will go into more detail on certain elements if you want in other videos, and I will be making a lot of Fantastic Beasts 4 videos. But there's no guarantee the final 2 movies will even happen. But all things considered, the movie is doing well at the box office, and it's just opened in America. Even though it has mixed reviews from the critics, this is a film for the fans. Fans who didn't cancel this movie years before seeing it. The audience score is much higher than the critic score, so that tells you a lot. It isn't Harry Potter, it's a much more adult story, but the magic is still there. It's a fun ride, with lots of history, world building, character moments, all that, and so much more. It truly is a magical movie in the Wizarding World franchise. I think it's the best Fantastic Beasts film so far. Like I said, I've got so many more videos coming, talking about the ending for this movie, other elements in more detail, Fantastic Beasts 4, title speculations, and if you guys have got any requests, just post them as well. So thank you so much for watching, subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you soon.